What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome on to the Bladecast. In this episode, we have the Mike James on as he talks about his podcast himself, where he started from and where he's going with his content, and what he'd like to do in the coming years on Twitch. So stick around, have fun, and tell me how you feel in the comments down below. If you are on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify or iTunes, you guys should most definitely hit up the subscribe button so that you guys can check this out more. So have fun. Peace.
In the beard.
Definitely 100% prep. I do this little thing.
Yeah, the finger coming to the beard.
you have to like zhuzh it before every stream. Otherwise, it looks, for me at least, it looks ratty. If I don't do this, it's a little flat. So I need to. I feel like your beard is a little more full on the bottom than mine is. I might have to get some tips from you. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, mine is actually very, very patchy underneath. I actually try and hide it with a front, and I comb it in a certain way where it hides the patchiness underneath, because I've always, ever since college, I've always had like epic sideburns, and it's always grown really heavily on the sides, but never underneath. So
No, that's all right. That's all right. I mean, I can respect a beard. Honestly, that's the biggest thing, is if you can like respect the beard culture and like make sure that it looks nice before you get on. You don't just like get out of bed and like, oh, you know what, F it, we're gonna get on stream, and you know, if it looks like crap, it looks like crap. No, I'm like, I spend like 10 minutes like combing it out. If I don't comb it out, I'm not getting on stream.
Oh yeah, I'm the same. Like I always used to give my younger brother slack, because he used to spend like 20 minutes combing his hair every time he left the house. But now I'm the same, but with my beard, and I'll sit there with like my little mustache comb, and I'll be like looking in the mirror, making sure that it's all like looking good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So for anyone that doesn't know you, can you give them a little blurb about yourself, some things that they'd like to know if they've never met you before?
Well, yeah, sure. I am known as TheMikeJames. I used to be known by another name, which nobody can spell or pronounce, and it was my surname, which was L. Thurwell, but I'm sure we can speak a bit more about that. Yeah. I am similar to yourself, I'm a variety streamer, as well as talk show, podcast host. I absolutely love tacos. I'm definitely a dog person, not a cat person. I feel like that is a big argument on the internet that I like to get out there straight away. Which I am engaged to my wonderful fiance, who is a cat person, so you can imagine the conversations that we have around the dinner table. And I just I focus a lot of my value is and a lot of my focus is on inspiring others and educating people with things to do with like marketing your streams, growing your streams and stuff. I'm part of many different stream teams, but one of the biggest ones that I pride myself on is the Yam Fam stream team, which is owned by the streamer Ashley Christ, who is one of the leading Twitch coaches on Twitch. So you just by that alone, you can tell, you know, that I'm sort of heavy on the educational and inspirational value when it comes to streaming.
Yeah, you know what? So speaking of Ashley, I up until probably about 2 weeks ago, I had listened to every single one of her podcasts to date, and that was because I had gone back and listened to every single, like, I had not been listening to him from the beginning. And I found a lot of good information, a lot of people that I had never heard of before as well, like just people in general. I really enjoyed listening to just not only her perspective, but also the perspective of everyone else that came through, because like she was getting people that were, you know, in the industry. She was getting people that were, you know, across the board, just different types of streamers and whatnot. Has that influenced your whole podcasting from the start, or was there someone else that influenced you?
Podcasting wise, I'd say she was definitely an influence, but it's funny, the people that actually influenced me to podcast weren't actually anybody in the like sort of the streaming circle. It was actually more the fact that I used to listen to a podcast, and I still do. I haven't listened to it for a while. I used to listen to it whilst I walked to the gym. So if that tells you something, then. But I used to listen to a podcast called the Gold Digger Podcast, which is done by an influencer called Jenna Kutcher, who's a huge person on Instagram. She's a huge business individual. And she owns like a 6-figure photography business and things. And I actually started listening to her podcast, and then I was sort of inspired by, the fact that the value that I held quite close to me personally was, the educational, as I mentioned, the educational element. So I thought, how could I do what Jenna Kutcher is doing, but apply it to streaming? And I knew that Jenna Kutcher was, bringing on, she focuses on female entrepreneurs that she gets on her show. So I was trying to figure out how I could do something similar, but something that's related to streaming, because, even though I'm aspiring to be a full-time content creator, I want to focus quite heavily on Twitch, but down the line I'd like to focus on YouTube and things as well, and that's why I called my podcast Content Experience, because I was thinking long term with it. I wanted to think long term, but yeah, definitely definitely people like Jenna Kutcher was definitely one of the biggest inspirations for me, as well as a few other ones. Build Your Tribe, and yeah, Ashley Christ podcast, which I will admit I haven't actually seen all of I haven't actually listened to all of the episodes just yet. I'll throw my hands up and say that, and I hope that Ashley never hears that, otherwise she might pull me up on it.
I will not clip that and or put it up on Twitter, don't worry. So my whole thing with like I listened to her podcasts at work. It was super nice to be able to listen to them just to pass the time while I'm doing my thing at work. And then I used to listen a lot to Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a business, like he's an entrepreneur. He came from like nothing. And let me guess which one you got. Oh yeah,
I've jab right hook
now
in my hand.
Did you have you listened or read the rest of his books at all?
I haven't started it yet, but on my bedside table, which was the one I was going to hold up, was I forgot the title of it. I'm terrible with remembering names.
Is it Crush It or Crushing It?
Yes. Crushing It, yeah.
Crushing It. The second one is so, honestly, it's so damn good. I listened to them on through Audible, and it's another experience to like actually listen to him through Audible, because he like adds stuff to it, and he's so good. Like I would actually say that his whole thing about like just getting out there and doing your thing is the reason why I started to like really take my crap seriously, and look at myself and say, okay, what can I do to like better myself, not just like content creation wise, but also like as a person, and it's definitely helped in the long run, I'll tell you that much. So when you started on Twitch, what was your main thing that you wanted to do? Was it gaming? Like, what was that drew you to the platform?
Well, I think one thing that I think everybody should know a little bit about me, without making this a history lesson 101, is I've actually been on Twitch since it's Justin.tv days.
Nice.
This actual account, TheMikeJames, is actually going to be 7 years old this year. And so my journey is quite an extensive one, to say the least. But I actually started out as what the kids would now call a YouTuber, and I started out in 2008 making Call of Duty. Well, actually, it was a little bit before 2008, but 2008 was when I really sort of started, producing content, like taking it seriously. And I used to do Call of Duty World at War, like zombie videos and stuff, and tutorials and things. And then I actually started doing Minecraft videos, and I have a Minecraft channel that amassed, I think it was like 1.1 million video views. Wow. And I only got about 4,000 subs though. Which, in that day and age, I quit that channel about 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So, but it was actually Minecraft that brought me over to Twitch, in essence, because a friend of mine Aurelian, who now actually works for Twitch. She was a full-time streamer. I actually moderated for her for many, many years, from I think it was around about 2014, I'd like to say. Right. I mean, I'm still a moderator now, but obviously she works for Twitch. She only streams once a week. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's what initially drew me to the platform. And I did try streaming once or twice, streaming Minecraft, but I never had a face cam. And my microphone was quite terrible at the time.
Yeah.
And then I actually started up streaming again with a webcam and like wanting to look at doing streaming as like a hobby, sort of last basically a year ago. And I didn't actually sit there, and I sat there in August and realized that, well, hold on, if I take a step back and rework things, I could probably push this into a part of a bigger picture of being a career. So in August, I took a step back for a week, rebranded everything, changed my name on Twitch, and then came back and have been full force ever since August, really.
I like it. Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to get Aurelian on the podcast. I've talked like briefly back and forth, and we're kind of just working out schedules. She is super cool. Like, I met her at con last year. She had a panel for parenting. It was like parenting and streaming, and it was super interesting. I didn't know anything about it. I just went with one of my friends, and the stories that all the people on the panel had were ridiculously, like, like the fact that they're balancing one or two kids and streaming and like a full-time job, or they're like in her case, she's working full-time for Twitch and she's doing this streaming, and she's got a kid, and it's just what she has to do to be a parent and whatnot. Parenting of course comes first, and she was like, I'll skip streams just because if Boo can't if she's having problems or something, she's like, I'll take time off. I'm not afraid of doing that. So, and it's cool. It's good to see people put their, of course, their family first. It's definitely more important. I honestly think. I mean, unless you're making lyric type money off of things, but then at the same time, I think your family can understand. So okay, so I have that one done. I have like a whole checklist of things to ask you. So I normally I have a notebook, and I write all my stuff in my notebook, but I haven't written in my notebook this week. So and that's bad on me. But I wrote down everything on my phone because I just try not to look at my phone because I'm super addicted to my phone. I'm gonna let you know that right now. It's bad. It's horrible. It's so bad. Okay. So my biggest thing that I wanted to ask you, is about Article 13. It was something that I was kind of like scrolling through Twitter, and some people are still talking about it like full force. What has that been to you? Has there been any effect on your end? Because you still live in England, right?
Yeah, I'm in the UK. So to be honest, I need to figure out the best way to come across with this, because I have never ever been a political person, and I don't pretend to be. I don't advertise to be.
Right.
I was never really interested in politics growing up until the whole Brexit thing came around, and I know a lot of people will probably die and roll their eyes at hearing that, but the reason why I bring that up is because I just want to highlight the fact that how inexperienced I am with with that sort of thing. And when Article 13 came around, I sort of had the same approach as to when the voting came around for Brexit. So the voting came around, and I didn't vote because I didn't know whether or not, because everybody made good arguments for both sides, but I didn't know which side was telling the truth because there was a lot of lies on both sides. So now I know there's no sides as such to Article 13, but honestly, I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's an extension of my personality, but I am a sort of person that understands that if it gets passed, and if I have to change things, then I'll change things, but I'm still gonna, as long as I can, operate under the law and operate, well, I'm still gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But I understand, that a lot of it is coming down to stopping streamers, well, not streamers, but stopping people from uploading content that they don't own.
Yeah.
But honestly, I haven't really given it that much thought, and I don't think I'm alone in that one either. I don't think a lot of people have given Article 13 a lot of thought, especially in the UK. But then I think what's worth highlighting is, yes, there is, specifically streaming, but I actually don't know that many UK streamers, to be honest. I know maybe I could count on one hand how many UK streamers that I actually know that are streaming, at the level of you or I, or
Yeah.
or higher. And I don't know them well enough where I'd really sit down in the Discord and be like, "So, what do you think of Article 13, folks?
Yeah.
Let's discuss." Like that. I think that's part of the issue with Article 13 is, yes, I know like the dangers that it kind of poses, but at the same time, there's not that much of a scene for the UK people to connect. But I mean, I know a few UK streamers and things that are in the YamFam stream team that I'm in, and none of them have ever mentioned it.
Yeah.
They sort of posted it when it first came out, but none of us have really spoken about it since, to be honest. So I suppose I know it's not really a particularly educated answer on the whole subject, but I guess I'm just trying to be honest, and I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
No, and I mean that's a valid answer, honestly, because like when it comes to like anything really politics related, I'm usually pretty like away from it. It's just like this has been so like it's been talked about so much that I and at the same thing, I've never really asked anyone like, what do you guys think about that? Because I've never really had anyone that it could potentially affect that I've talked to, like you said, there's not that many UK streamers that you could count on one hand. The same thing. There's maybe 2 or 3 that I know of for 100% sure that they like live in the UK. So it's not really, it's not super prevalent in my experience. But I definitely wanted to see what you thought, because the whole thing is like, it's crazy to me that, and I understand, trying not to upload or re-upload people's content, but it's so people who do it so much that I mean, I'm surprised it's not something for the USA too, as it's across. It should be almost across the board, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's something that a government should regulate, or if it should be something that the sites themselves should regulate instead of the government. That's just my opinion. But we could jump over to another topic that I wanted to ask you about that came up this week, which is the new emotes slots on Twitch for affiliates. Now, I've heard good, bad, indifferent about this whole thing. People that are like, yes, this is awesome. Some people are very opposed to it. Some people are, kind of like they don't care either way. What do you think? Do you think it's a good step forward? What's your opinion on it?
To be honest, for those that know me or those that get to know me, you'll find that I'm somebody that in any argument or any debate, I tend to sit on the fence. I don't really tend to take sides. So when it comes to it, I'm the sort of person that's going to sit here and say, I feel like I've got a foot in both fields. If you imagine me like standing over a fence,
yeah,
the fence is like hurting regions that it probably shouldn't be sticking in. But yeah, I've got a foot in both fields, because I absolutely love it. I love the fact that we've now got 2 emotes, as an affiliate speaking. I love the fact that we've got 2 emotes. We can now extend our branding to, and I don't know if you've read the book Primal Branding, but that book brought a lot of information up regarding they sort of talk a bit about creed, but it's basically talking about all of the like the sayings and the mottos and the ritual level wording that you use in your streams that's unique to you.
Yeah.
So I can now say, oh guys, let's get some mic hype in chat, or let's get some mic love or mic hearts in chat. And that's something unique to my stream, and it's something that you can sort of turn into a mini ritual. Like I have a scene on OBS where I press a button on my stream deck, and it switches to a scene where I sit, where it's got multiple webcams, and it's got like flashing disco lights. And my stream sort of know that when I do that, the type exclamation mark hype, which spams hype emotes in the chat.
Yeah.
And so from an affiliate standpoint, I feel like the extra emote slot is fantastic. I feel like it's one of the best moves Twitch has ever made. But I also have that foot in the partner camp, having a lot of partnered friends, and aspiring to be a partner myself one day.
Yeah.
I kind of think you are sort of closing that gap a bit about what made partnership unique. And I know both of those arguments each have their then sub arguments, but they're like the main points that I feel like strongly about. Is that I've always felt on Twitch, and I don't know about you, and I don't know about anybody listening, but I've always felt on Twitch that partners have always, to me, felt like achieving it is sort of like achieving celebrity status, and it definitely used to be, that feeling used to be a lot stronger back in sort of early Twitch days. If you were a partner, then Twitch seen your content in high esteem. So I don't know if it's just an old mentality, but it's kind of, partnership should be, to me, it feels like it's that sort of celebrity status. So I feel like if you're trying to bridge the gap between somebody that isn't at that status and somebody that is, and you're sort of making that gap less, and it kind of it takes away value from both sides.
Absolutely.
So I have a foot in two different camps. So it is a little bit weird. It's a bit unique, the position that I'm in, but obviously I have no say in whether or not if it's there or not.
Right.
And as an affiliate, I embrace it and I love it. But at the same time, I can understand why it could necessarily be a bad thing. But I suppose at the end of the day, it's great for me. So therefore, I'll embrace it.
Well, and it definitely gives a little more incentive to get the to subscribe to the channel. Not only do you get now 2 emotes, but it's also you might get some sort of added bonus to being a sub to whoever's channel, and just having that extra emote is nice. Like you said, it's a branding thing. It's being able to spread your name out there. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people spam an emote in a chat, and it doesn't matter whose chat, and they're like, oh, whose emote is that? And then the streamer, whoever the streamer is, goes out of their way to see whose emote it is, because they think it's a really cool emote, and then they ask, oh, okay. And then, like, for me, I follow a ton of artists on Twitter. I really, really, really enjoy seeing new artists, like for their emote art, but also for any type of art. So when I see an emote artist that's doing some phenomenal work, I personally reach out to them, and I'm like, okay, how much can I pay you to do an emote for me? Because I definitely will stockpile emotes, just on the whim of wanting to change stuff up. If I want to, in 8 months, if I want to change up the feel of my channel, I already have the emotes ready to go. I don't have to do any of the legwork anymore. So that's definitely one of the big things for me. I love seeing everyone's artwork, for sure. When it comes to Twitch, are you this year looking to do TwitchCon or any of the Twitch meetups that are around you?
I'd love to go to TwitchCon, but as I briefly mentioned, I'm engaged, and we are looking to get married at some point this year. Just purely because my fiance's Nana isn't doing too well, sort of physically. She's a bit unwell, so we want to get married while she's still with us. And so unfortunately there won't be any TwitchCon, but like I mentioned, the Yam Fam has a few UK members, and there's a streamer actually who she lives about an hour north from where I am. She's called Don't Rage Quit, and she actually works for a big multimedia company that posts content on YouTube as well. So I am looking to get to some Twitch meetups, and I know that there's an event in London called Twitch. Is it called? I think it's just called like Twitch Winter, like Twitch Winter, I think. And then there's one in spring.
Yep.
In London. So I'm looking to visit those type of events this year. But TwitchCon, I think, is going to probably be next year, I'd imagine.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I know Fremily, it's a couple streamer, Fred and Emily. They're in. I don't know if they're in London, but they're UK. They're two UK streamers. They're married, and they did the last like big meetup that wasn't a TwitchCon in the UK, and they coordinated the whole thing. So you might want to hit them up and see when they're doing another one. I don't know if they're the ones coordinating the Twitch winter, but they might be. So they're super good people to be in contact with when it comes to like, you know, UK partner streamers and whatnot. If you want any good information, they usually got good stuff on their Twitter. So when it comes to streaming, what are some goals that you're looking for, like looking towards to do this year?
I was actually just speaking about this on the stream. I was thinking about aiming for probably about 2,000 followers on Twitch, but I think a goal this year would be to just. I tweeted it out the other day. I'd love to probably just double, triple, or quadruple whatever I can achieve across the board. Just growth in general. Like I'm that sort of person that just appreciates growth in any form. And like yourself, you know, I want to get some bigger guests on the podcast in order to you know, just help share information. So I want the podcast to sort of get more listens, purely to sort of help people. So I want to increase the market. I want to learn to market my podcast a bit more, basically. Yeah. And I want to learn to. I need to nail down the branding on Twitch. And I'm sure we can have a whole long conversation about that in a bit. But yeah, so generally goal wise, it's just summing it up is just to keep growing. But if I was to speak solid goals, then yeah, probably 2,000 followers on Twitch. I obviously the YouTube channel that I spoke about at the beginning, I really want to get that resurrected because I stopped uploading to that a couple of years ago. Yeah. And I'm looking at doing like, you know, basically condensing all of the topics that we discuss in the podcast down to like 10-minute videos for streamers so that people that don't have time to listen to the podcast can then at least watch a 5 to 10 minute YouTube video and get all the same information. So ultimately my goal is to just keep exposing and spreading my content. I suppose, you know, keep tweeting because Twitter's huge platform right now for streamers to be on. So just learning to utilize Twitter better. So yeah, just educating myself basically, just educating myself in marketing and exposing myself and things.
I like that. Yeah, Twitter's one of those untapped. I think Twitter and Instagram are like equally untapped. Instagram I really like because I'm a huge visual person. So I try to put a lot on Instagram, and I've created 2 Instagram accounts, one for photography because I really love photography and I wanted to separate it from my gaming stuff. But then my gaming stuff, I enjoy like putting, you know, not just that I'm going live stuff, but like, you know, ridiculous clips and videos and stuff. And I think that kind of stuff gets more notice than the, you know, the typical, oh, I'm going live. And I mean, I don't know what I want to hear your opinion on this, but what when it comes to Twitter, what do you see that people could do better as a whole if you're a streamer?
Oh, what they could do better as a whole, it comes back down to probably just learning how to incorporate their value into everything that they do and say on Twitter. Because yeah, if you take out all the going live posts, there's still a lot of posts on Twitter that are just, filled with hashtags.
Yeah.
They don't really offer any insight into who that person is. And that's like one of the biggest general bits of feedback that I would give to anybody that, asks me to check out their Twitter is, the first thing I do is, I look at the bio and I look at the header and see like what that tells me. But the first thing I do is I scroll down and look at what they're retweeting and what they're posting.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things, and I'm sure you see it as well, is just these posts that have like 20 different hashtags in them, and then they'll have like 4 words at the beginning, and then it's just filled with hashtags, and then it might have a clip or something to make it a bit more appealing or an image, but it's still got that wall of blue. And I think that's one of the biggest things, sure.
Yeah, I want to say that when I probably about 2 years ago, because I've been on the platform for since 2015, and I want to say probably the first year I didn't tweet at all, which was horrifying because I just expected people to show up. That was I tip to everyone: don't do that. It's a bad idea. It doesn't work, and people don't show up. But I probably the first year that I really started doing Twitter, that was my big thing. I put too many hashtags. I've cut it down to maybe 3 or 4 good ones, and I try to like optimize. I don't try to put like the 4 biggest ones, because then you don't really get as much eyes, I think. But I think the big thing for Twitter is just show yourself, because like you can really show your personality, and like you said, if you scroll through someone's Twitter and all they have is like going live tweets and retweets of like contests and stuff, that frustrates me. I'm be honest with you, I do retweet contests because I do want to win a free cam at some point in my life, and honestly, I'm gonna be this chair that I'm sitting in and my laptop that's in my bedroom, I won in a contest because I retweeted something. So it does work. I promise you it works. But at the same time, if that's all I see on someone's Twitter, it totally makes me shy away from their Twitter. So when it comes to tweeting, just tweet cool things. Like tweet like, I had a really good day today. I ate a piece of pizza. This is what was on my pizza. Like people, even though it's kind of ridiculous, it's something about you. Might as well put it up. Like you said in your beginning, I like tacos. I'm a dog person. People like to hear that because it's something about you. Just plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just inject something into that as well, for people to try is, and I mentioned this in yesterday, is that there's an app that you can get on Android. I'm not sure if you can get it on Apple phones. I'm pretty sure you can, but it's called InShot, and it's INSHOT, so InShot.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the reason why I downloaded that app is I actually got inspired by Gary Vee, but it makes perfect sense. Is that if you download clips onto your phone from your streams, the clips that people have made, and you can use InShot to edit the clip and basically add a title to the clip, and then you can use text tools. It's a bit finicky, but it works. And you can use the text tools to add like subtitles and captions, and you basically can give it like a catchy title, something that's going to catch people's attention.
Yeah.
And then when they scroll past it, they're going to see like a big bold black sort of title, and then they're going to see like a clip. And you'll see it sometimes with like Fortnite clips and stuff. They'll see like, oh, see this insane 500-meter headshot or something. Yeah. And people click and watch it because they see that it's going to be something insane. And I actually tried it. I've only done it once, but I tried it with a clip of mine. And I basically, it was when I was interviewing somebody, and I took something that they said, and it took me about half an hour. I'm not going to lie. It took me about half an hour, 45 minutes to make this clip. But I put all the captions in it, and I put the title on it in my phone, and I was laid in bed. And then I uploaded it to Twitter, and I did that in January, and I think that's one of the biggest impressions of media-related stuff that I've actually uploaded to my Twitter.
Yeah.
In January, and I think in January I had I think it was about 300,000 impressions, and that was like, I think it was about 20% of those impressions was that
Yeah.
one clip.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And but yeah, the reason why it works is because people will see your clip, and yeah, some people will watch and play the clip, but some people will scroll through and not have the sound on,
Yeah.
so they're still getting value from the clip even without the sound on.
Yeah.
And that's why I really think that app is a really great one to try for Twitter and Instagram and things. And I've done it the once, and I'm gonna start trying it like maybe once every 2 days, just putting a clip out there
I like that.
from some of the content with captions on it. And do you know what? As well, if you take out the value from the actual clip, a lot of people, especially a lot of people that have, that are a bit more established and understand marketing and things a bit better, appreciate the effort that you've put into it as well, because it takes a lot of effort to make something like that.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people appreciate the effort that you go into making things. I know when I actually had a partnered guest on the show, I actually spoke to them. I sent them the graphics that I was going to use for promotional material, and the first thing they said was like, they were like blown away at how professional it was, because I think that a lot of people as well have expectations that, when you're new, or when you're, I hate using the term, but air quotes, smaller.
Yeah.
They sometimes, even if they don't mean to, they automatically assume that they're going to get less quality from you. So if you, from the very beginning, are putting in the quality and putting in the effort, then people are going to notice that, and people are going to appreciate that.
I think that's a big thing is, for a while I really didn't put any sort of like value to my own content. I was just kind of like, oh, I'll play and hopefully people will show up. And then I realized, if you do like a little bit extra, and it's small things, having a nice overlay for specific things like the podcast. Like I do all of my own overlays. I purposely made this one because I like the way it's set up and all that stuff. And I think that little added bonus of like having a nice little overlay takes and makes it just a little bit better for people. It's a little more appealing to the eye, and then it gives information without even trying, like, I don't have to say it's also everything's on all these other platforms. It's just already said underneath the podcast every time. So when I take a clip and I put it up on YouTube or on Twitter, it automatically, people are like, oh, it's on all the other platforms. Cool, I can go check it out there, and it just adds to it. So, so what are some things that you'd like to see on Twitch, like as a whole, like things that they could potentially add in the next year or two?
Oh, well, I mean, a lot of the things they're already implementing, like the squad streaming feature.
Oh yeah.
Which allows up to 4 people to be like on the same stream, but you can all stream separately. I mean, that's a feature that I think is going to be great for platform, not only just for people bringing communities together and things, but also it's going to be great just because it's stops people using I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but Twitch has actually recently just stopped embedded views counting towards your actual viewership, so you can't embed your stream anywhere anymore and have the views count. So it stops people using like multi-site viewing tools.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to stop people from just lurking hundreds of streams. So I think that's going to be great for the platform as well. But if we take away from what Twitch is actually doing, and I would sit here and I was given the powers from the higher powers of our Lord and Savior Twitch to make changes as to what I would add. Do you know what? I'd love to see just more features aimed at helping content creators. And I know that Twitter, and what I mean by that is things like educational material.
Yes.
And I know that Twitch had their boot camp.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like it would be great for Twitch to have I'm not even sure how you'd implement it, because you don't. A chat room would basically just be like stream chat.
Right.
But I feel like it would be nice for somewhere for to basically bring similar content creators together. So, for example, me and you are very similar in our content creation, but if if it wasn't for Twitter, me and you probably would have never have known that me and you exist, and it would be nice to have a tool a bit like the not the caption system, the tagging system that they've got right now.
Yeah,
it'd be cool if there was a bit more of an in-depth tagging system for content creators to find potential collaborations and things. So I suppose a collaboration platform would be something that I'd work on. I don't know how, but it'd be something that I'd love to see implemented into Twitch.
we'll call it Tinder for Twitch. It's not a dating site, guys. It's not a dating site. It's what it is. Just roll with me on this. You put in the information. This is the stuff I like, and I think this would work. I mean, this is not, it's ridiculous to call it that, but basically, I think it would be cool just to do kind of like a swipe right, swipe left kind of thing, where okay, you put in the information. I really like podcasts. Well, here's a bunch of podcasts. Do you want to watch people that are above this threshold of viewers, or do you want to watch people that are below this threshold of viewers? Okay, here's the number of people, and then it just shows you who they are. You could swipe right and go to their channel, or you can swipe left and not. I think it'd be an interesting way to go about it. It would definitely drive people to lower view counted streams, and I think it would be just a way to get people's names out there. The big thing I think that people are doing now is they aren't educating themselves on anything, and it kind of frustrates me, because they're just kind of going into it going, well, I want to be a big streamer. Okay, well, do you know like what you want to do? No, I don't. Okay, well, you might have to learn a little bit before you can call yourself before you can get into the whole thing. Like,
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, people what I see is that a lot of people are coming into Twitch, and I'll tell you right now, I love seeing growth. I want to see growth, because growth means good things for us. But at the same time, people cannonball into this and go, I'm quitting my job and I'm becoming a Twitch streamer. And I'm like, good luck with that, bud. I'm going to be over here working my 9 to 5 and then coming home and doing this. Like, that's just, it's the reality of it. And I think that you're right. If classes, even if it's just, once a week, here's a boot camp with whatever streamer, and they have some sort of tip or trick, and it's an hour-long class, and then I don't know, if you subscribe, you get extra help with that week's topic or something. It might be a good way to cash grab for Twitch, but also help people grow. I think it would work out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you've just described is what attracted me to Ashley Christ's stream in the first place, because she was, she advertises herself as being a stream coach, and I came across her channel, and it basically is that summarized, but it's run by her. Now, at the start, when I first I discovered her in about sort of May, maybe just a bit before May last year. And I didn't really take much value from what she said at the start, because a lot of it I already knew. But at this point, when I started on Twitch in February, I hate it now, and I look back on myself, and it's like when you look back at old photographs and cringe at yourself. But I used to stream Fortnite 6 nights a week, from 9 o'clock every night, right up until about 1 a.m. I used to stream Fortnite for 6 nights a week. And then it wasn't until that point, when I mentioned earlier in sort of August, where I went on a trip to Scotland, and I sort of sat there and I really thought about what Ashley Christ had been saying over the past couple of months in her streams. And she used to do the occasional like channel reviews, where she would take a bunch of channels and she would review them and stuff. And she reviewed mine, and it sort of made me sit there, and I sort of realized that, I was basically one of those people, like you just said. I was one of those people that cannonballed into Twitch, thought that I could just make it by playing Fortnite, and thought that people would just show up. And that's when I first started realizing that, becoming educated is a great thing, because
Oh
I
yeah.
educated myself on, on the truth of the matter, which is that, 80% of people that are streaming Fortnite right now at this moment in time that have less than 10 viewers are probably, I hate to say it, but are probably not going to achieve much.
No.
And I'd even feel bad as to go higher than 80%, to be honest, because
Yeah.
it's just oversaturated. And the same for any of the games in the top 10. It's just oversaturated,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
that's why I took a week out, and I was like, I just changed everything. I took on board what she said, and I learned that, my value was never going to be, my value to my audience was never going to be, you know like fun gameplay or competitive FPS gameplay, or it's not going to be, this whole I'm going to be the next ninja thing. I realized that I
Yeah.
actually value education, and I want to help people. And I've been, ever since August, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to brand myself right now. And that's really why, one of the things why I was looking forward to, discussing on this podcast, was just the whole thing about branding as well. At some point, is just, that's like, when you get serious about Twitch, branding becomes such an important subject.
Oh yeah.
And when you're a perfectionist like me, uh, trying to nail down your branding is just absolutely impossible. I mean,
It's tedious.
just recently I've been trying to think of a name for our community, because I've got a growing community. And I mean, I could tell you about my elements with the community, and the issues and the drama and the heartbreak, if you like, that I've had over the past year with my community. And I've effectively just restarted building my community from scratch over the past month or so. And if you want to hear that, I'm more than willing to tell you about that,
Absolutely.
because but I know that I do ramble on. So feel
No.
free to interject at any
No,
point.
I honestly, I like when a guest can carry a conversation, because I mean, I'll talk. Believe me, I'm a talker. I'm like, I could talk to a wall. It's horrible. But that's the whole thing, is like, I think that people don't realize that, number one, once you're in the public eye, everything you do and say, and anything you do or say on Twitch or on Twitter or on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever, you could be out in public. There's people that, like, and I'll give it an example. Lyric is a guy who, for the longest time, no one knew who he was. No one knew his name. No one knew his face. Nothing. It gave him a little bit of an edge. He can go out in public with the amassed amount of followers he had, past followers that he probably saw them wearing his t-shirt, and just keep walking, and no one knew who he was. The thing is that gave him that anonymity gave him a superpower, basically, as a streamer, because he could do or say whatever he wanted, and no one really paid attention to him. He's just a guy at that point. But once he showed who he was, and people knew where he lived and all that stuff, it became a thing. Now anything, like, if you're a ninja, or you're Tim the Tatman, or you're Lyric, or whoever, anyone that was top 10, top 15 streamers on Twitch, they can't do or say anything without being backlashed, good or bad. And it is a full-time job. You could literally say one wrong thing and screw everything up. All your progress can be screwed up from start to finish, and it sucks. And it's a big thing that people don't realize. Even tweets, or this is, I mean, I'll give an example of government officials that tweeted something 20 years or 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, Twitter wasn't invented, 10 years ago, and it's being brought up now, and people are outraged, and how could you say that? But it's 10 years ago. So stuff changes. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'll tell you right now. 17-year-old me was a little shit, and said and did whatever he wanted. And I'm glad I didn't have Twitter at the time. I'll tell you that right now. But at the same time, you have guys who are starting on Twitch and, they don't know that. And that's the things that people need to learn now. When it comes to trying to become, a content creator, everything you do and say is going to be recorded to the end of time. So just be careful what you say. That's all. No, I think branding, let's talk about branding. So you went from your original name, which was what?
My original name was Elfo.
And which is I can understand why you changed it. I can understand why you changed it to the Mike James, which I think is a number one. I have two cool things with this. Number one, I'm not I can't say my full name on anywhere because it's such a unique name that anyone could find that name. It's horrifying. To me, it freaks me out. So what was your when you were setting up your new Twitch name, what was your reasoning behind turning it into the Mike James?
Well, originally, so my usernames have always been pretty much my real life names. Thurwell is my actual surname, and I don't mind sharing that on the internet. And basically, I used to get called when I was talking about the sideburns that I had in college and my love for tacos. My friends at college used to call me El Thurwell, the mysterious Spanish gentleman. Like you would say like El Diablo or something, like El Thurwell, the mysterious Spanish gentleman.
Yeah.
Just because people used to use my surname Thurwell as like my sort of nickname. I don't know why, because it's such a pain to say. But and the biggest reason for changing it was every time I went into somebody's chat, all I ever got was, "Hey, El Thrillwell, El Thrillwell," and then I'll be like, and then I used to go through this procedure where I'd be like, it's L, and then like fur, as in like fur that you'd animals have, and then well is the simplest way to put it, El Furwell. But obviously, if you pronounce it properly, it's like El Thurwell. It's a Roman. It comes from Roman times. So you can imagine just.
Yeah, I can see why. I can see why. No, so changing over, has it been an experience for you? Just changing everything up to this basically, I would almost say a new persona, or a new iteration to your channel.
Oh yeah, I mean, everything was just a complete change. Like I always say that if you're gonna rebrand, a rebrand isn't just changing your graphic.
Yeah.
A rebrand is changing everything. It's changing your, I never want to say that you want to be somebody fake, but you change the way that you approach the stream with your personality, and that's a complete rebrand. And so when I came to wanting to change my name, it was actually Ashley Christ who I messaged her on Discord, and I was like, I want to change my name and make it a bit more simple. What's your thoughts on making my username, Mike James? I just wanted Mike James. And she was like, that's a really good idea, because it makes your name it just makes you a more sort of personable individual. Like if somebody says the Mike James, I think of like a person, rather than saying, my name is, I don't know, Night Killer 299 or something, on Night Killer or something like that. Like to me personally, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, by the way. I'm just saying, me personally, I was looking for more of a real brand. I was looking for more something related to me as an individual, because as I go through this journey as a content creator, through the entirety of my life, if I remain doing this throughout the entirety of my life, I want to be able to build it on my name rather than build it on something else.
Yeah.
And so it was Ashley Christ who sort of said, well, that's a really good name. And so I went with Mike James, but obviously it was taken. So I tried the Mike James on Twitch and that was available. So I went with it on Twitch, but then I had the unfortunate thing of going to Twitter and trying it on Twitter and it was like, the Mike James is taken. So I was like, well, this backfired. I should have checked this first. But
Yeah.
I've basically on Instagram and Twitter, I've had to go with it's the Mike James. So now I'm in the position of, well, do I keep it as it is and hope that it doesn't get confusing, or do I change my Twitch to it's the Mike James, just so that it fits that one brand across all boards? So if anybody asks me, where can I find you, I can just say it's the Mike James on everything.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I want to say for mine, it was me just really enjoying Assassin's Creed, and that's the reason why I decided to turn my name into this. But then it turned into something way different. And I'll explain that in a minute. But I like the Mike James. I think it's for me, like announcing someone, you know, and for any name, it's sometimes I get confused on names. Like anyone, I'll read a name and sometimes I read too fast and I'll read it and screw it up. But like the Mike James with everything capitalized, like you have it makes it so much easier. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I read your name and I'm like, awesome. Now I know this, like, this is easy. This is easy for me. And I think that's the biggest thing. You know, if you can have a name that's easy to remember, like you said, if it's night killer 2242 __, I'm punching you in the throat. Like that's just, it's too much. And it's hard to remember. It's hard to, I think that's a big thing for people that they don't realize is if you make your name hard to remember on Twitch or on Twitter or on Instagram, people, I want to say 50% of the time might not remember who you are. That's just purely like, it's just memory on people, like it's not on you. You might be a super interesting person, but if your name is super hard to remember, they might not remember who you are. It's just how it is. But no, I like that. I like the rebranding. It's very clean cut and it's nice. It's like a good, I think it's a much cleaner way to go. So when it comes to the rebranding, is there more that you still want to do with it, or is there are you kind of like at your end game right now with what you have?
Do you know what? I'm so happy that you asked me that question, because I'm actually I mentioned it briefly, I'm actually in a really big rut at the moment in terms of my personal branding, because I've got my name, I'm happy with my name. Yeah. I've got my sort of, I'm starting to nail down my visual element to my brand. Like you can tell that I've got the green LEDs behind me. Yeah. All of my graphics are green and purple, and the reason why it's green and purple is my favorite color is green. My fiance's favorite color is purple. Her engagement ring is it's called a Galaxy Opal, and it's like a green, bluey, purpley type tone. So it all ties into me personally. It's very personable to me, the green and the purples. But the biggest element that I'm still to this day struggling to, and I know that you said that you didn't mind me going into it a bit, is my actual community and the person that I'm wanting to be. So upon discovering Ashley Christ, I knew that there was a market for people that are helping streamers grow by giving them advice. So she inspired me to, like yourself, do podcasts and things like that. Yeah. To help people. And I knew that there was a market on Twitch to help people. So eventually, I want to go into that market, but the conflict that I've got with myself right now is that I don't want to market myself as a Twitch coach or a streaming coach, because I don't want to be branded as a streaming coach. Yeah. I want to be branded as somebody that's, super helpful, super knowledgeable, and helps people with advice. Yeah. But is still in touch with that gaming side, because one of the things that Ashley Christ does is that she'll sit there on Twitch, amazingly, I may add, but she'll sit there for, I think it's like 6 to 8 hours a day, and she will just do just chatting, talking about, branding and growth and things like that. And that's not sort of the route I want to go down. The route I want to go down is being, playing games that I can do casually, things like marbles on stream, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Basically just virtual marbles running down the track for anybody that doesn't know. But by doing that, that allows me to have something competitive for the community. But at the same time, if people come in and talk to me, the first thing I start asking them about is, are they streamers? And if they say yeah, then I ask them what do they stream, and then I like to build that connection off, off the mutual understanding that we're both streamers, we're both trying to grow on this platform. And I sort of advertise myself at the moment as somebody that will, if you give me your time, I'll give you all of the knowledge that I've possibly ever retained. And getting, I'm still actively looking to educate myself, which is why I have, established streamers that come on every week to talk about it. And I'm always building up my knowledge, and I want to share that with my community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by no means, I'm actually, if to answer your question simply, I'm actually at the very beginning. I've been on Twitch a year, and right now, because of the rebrand in August of the name and everything that I'm doing, I'm at the very beginning, and it's probably going to take me about another probably 6 months to a year before I finally get somewhere that I'm happy with it. That's being, the downfall of somebody that's a bit of a perfectionist and is never truly happy with anything that they do. But it's also the fact that I used to run a support community called the Twitch Legion, which is similar to some popular communities many people might know, like Stallion Support Community, Hell's Army, things like that.
Yeah.
All amazing communities that are built on, support and positivity and helping each other. And I wanted to build my own, and I called it the Twitch Legion because my surname Thirlwell and my original name L Thirlwell comes from Roman descent of a guardian of the gates in Hadrian's Wall in Scotland. So I thought, hey, I'll make the Twitch Legion, and I'll brand it as we're a legion of streamers that are trying to help each other grow and things. But then I had a lot of friends and things that sort of were telling me, well, we don't want to support other streamers, Mike. We just want to support you.
Yeah.
And this whole Discord, it was my community at the time, was built on supporting each other. So I made 2 separate Discords. And at the time, my fiance worked from 6 a.m. right up until 10 p.m. at night. So she was out all day. She might come home at lunchtime and have a nap because she would have a gap. But most of the time she was out all day, and I had the time to run 2 Discords. But then she got a new job, and I basically started focusing on my own community, because it's always important to focus on yourself first.
Absolutely.
Before you focus on anyone else. And as soon as I did that, I had people that were, going against me. People started talking about me. People started complaining at everything that I was doing because I was committing more time elsewhere than running the community, and it died, unfortunately, and it fell silent. And maybe somebody would post maybe once every 3 days, and we had upwards of 300 members in at the highest point, and it died. So I had to start again. So I've effectively, I've got the following on Twitch, but I've effectively got no community standing behind me, and it did hit me, and it tanked everything. I've never been one to be particularly focused on viewer numbers, but I've just got to be honest with you and everybody else in chat. It tanked completely, and everything just dropped because I essentially stopped. I came away from the biggest support pillar, and then that's when I realized that people weren't invested in me. People were invested in the idea of that particular community. So
Absolutely.
Right now I'm in that process of trying to figure out the branding where I can build it on being about everybody growing together, but still with me at the center of it. And that's why I've read books like Primal Branding, because that touches a lot on different branding aspects and how it ties in with human sort of primal instincts and stuff about, if you look at companies and you can compare them to religions in terms of, they've all got their, the zealots, the people that are absolutely obsessed with a brand, and how you achieve that is through things like, having the value of the company and what value you bring into others, as part of your company story or branding, and then your creation story. People buy into your creation story. Like you could probably tell me one of your favorite brands that you buy things of that you enjoy, and you'd probably know how that company started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In some way or another, like the KFC brand, a lot of people know that it started with an old man selling his own chicken recipe door to door when he retired at the age of 80, and that's how KFC begun. Like, knowing that of a brand is like, it's only one of 7 parts. I don't want to give it all away because if people want to know about it, they can read the book. But that book has opened up a lot to me right now. So I'm at the very beginning. I've got this community that I'm now trying to reform under a brand new name and a brand new direction, but it's actually nameless at the moment, because I was going to go with a taco tribe because of how much I love tacos, but then I realized that the taco tribe is already a community. So then I was going to go with Mike's Hype Squad, but then I realized that Hype Squad is already a community.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just trying to find something, and part of the issue of being a perfectionist is I'm trying to find something that's perfect, that will fit not only Twitch streamers joining the community, but when I start expanding my content onto YouTube, I'm going to need something that people can come into from different platforms and still feel a part of the same family, even though. But then the argument could be made, well, should you not just like separate them? But I kind of want, that's kind of like what I'm trying to achieve at the moment. I'm trying to build them all up under one pillow.
Yeah, you want to intermingle everyone. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, because
I like that.
I kind of want to split the bridge between Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, they're both streaming platforms. Yes, YouTube is becoming one of the biggest search engines in the world, and it's like kind of the sort of value you'd get from a YouTube video is different from what you'd get from a Twitch streamer. But thinking about your community and thinking about your friends, I want them all to, no matter where they find me, if they share my values and they share, in the type of things that I like and the things that, relatable, relation value is huge as a content creator. People want to feel like they can relate to you. And if somebody does, no matter where they're from, I want them to feel a part of the family. So I'm at the very beginning, and honestly, I'll be the first to throw my hands up, and I've said it to the Discord multiple times. I am completely lost at the moment, and I have been spending. In fact, I was sat watching Netflix over the weekend with an A4 paper pad on my knee, just jotting down different words, and I must have jotted down the word like stream coach, mentor, guidance, things like that.
Yeah,
like over 500 times, and I'm still no closer to it. But then I realized that it's not all about doing it right now.
Yeah,
I'm more than happy to allow it to build itself. Sometimes community names will come naturally over time, and sometimes these things just fall into place. So I'll keep throwing suggestions out there, but at the forefront of it all is the community. If the community's happy with it, then I'll go with it. I put a straw poll up. I'll let them decide on the community name, but that sort of extends into how I introduce myself as well. When you get a raid from somebody, I used to have this long intro where I'd be like, "Hey guys, welcome to the stream. I'm the Mike James. I'm a talk show host where I host a podcast and talk show on a Monday where we invite Twitch partners in. And then on a Tuesday and Friday, we do variety games, community-focused variety games, things like marbles on stream and Jackbox games. And then by the time I've got through that, all the raids left already anyway. So so I'm just sat there with like the same people that were in the chat before. And then somebody's like, Mike, they've already gone. And I'm like, oh. So, I've been trying to find a way to get across everything that I value and stuff. And what I do for people, but do it in the most condensed fashion possible.
Absolutely.
And it's
it's like
it's like banging your head against
it's like and it's like sometimes what it is you have to I'll tell you right now, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but I like things specifically. Like that's why I do my own graphic work. That's why I do a lot of my own work on my YouTube channel. That's why because if I don't, I feel like it's not correct in my own brain. So when it comes to like branding and also like trying to get your community correct, I feel you 100% on that. Now the name of my community is the Blade Guild. That came years ago. That was like the second thing I ever thought of. And it was because I was just sitting there and I was like, we're like a it originally I think it was called the Blade. What did I call it? The Blade Buddies. And it was just it sounded too like kiddish, I guess, to like preschoolish to me in my head. And then I was like, Blade Guild sounded so much cooler. I'm like, I want to be part of the Blade Guild. I like Blade Buddies, Blade Guild, heck yeah. Like that was just, like so that I mean I completely understand. There's a lot of things that people don't take into consideration when it comes to, being on as a content creator, that there's so many, behind the scenes things that trying to get your name correct, or trying to get, is something correct on OBS or something like that. It might take you 3 hours. But once it's done and it's correct, it's like, man, did that feel good? Like once that puzzle piece is in place and you finish that, you're like, man, okay, let's get on to the next thing that I can like tackle. And it's for probably better part of a year, my office was in shambles, and it made me crazy to walk into this office. I'd walk in and I would just be like, I had to stream today. Great. Awesome. And I would just be mad. Like I didn't want to sit here because it was so cramped and gross to me. I moved everything around. Everything is much more open. I can like stretch out and, enjoy myself. I can get up and dance and stuff, and I don't bump into anything, and I don't like knock anything over. And for me, being how like a big dude, it's a good thing to not knock things over in the middle of the stream. So I completely get that. Trying to just get everything, solid and put down. And if you ever need anything, of course, this is for everyone as well. If you ever need any advice, definitely hit me up on Discord or on Twitter. I was losing my brain for a second. On Twitter, DM me and I'll definitely DM you back. I'm pretty good about that. So what I'm gonna throw another question at you real quick. When it comes to streaming, I see a lot of people that come through when they're starting up, and they like to, like you said, jump in the deep end and stream 6 days a week and whatnot. And I'll give you my little piece of history. When I first started up, I was streaming 6 to 7 days a week, about 6 hours a day. And it killed everything that I ever had. Any friendships, any family members that I wanted to talk to, it was just not a thing. Since then I've dialed it back. It's 3 days a week. It's super nice, and I can have 4 days to kind of like do whatever I need to do, whether it be YouTube videos or enjoy a in real life experience and do things. Get out into the world and actually breathe real air, not just computer air. Have you dialed back your content on Twitch, and has that definitely helped or hurt you? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I used to stream Fortnite 6 days a week, and I think I might have peaked at maybe 20 viewers.
Yeah.
But my average was pretty much between it was about 10.
Okay.
About 10 viewers I averaged, and I held that for the longest time. I think it was about 5 months. I just didn't get above 10 viewers, and it was all the same people. And God bless them for coming in every single stream, but they all came in every single stream and just hung out. And most of them, I played with some of them.
Yeah.
So if you take away the people that I played with giving me view numbers, then it was way less than 10.
Yeah.
And I did that for 5 or 6 months. And then obviously when I said I started, I went away, rebranded, came back in August. And then, right up until I stopped You know, with the whole thing with the Twitch Legion Discord community that happened. I was upwards of about an average of about between 25 and 35. And then, you know, I haven't left the community, but the community died. I, like I said, I technically shattered my own community. And I'm now back. I say now back. I am now roughly between 15, about 15 and 20. And it's partly just because, you know, I stopped doing the whole support for support thing, which is a whole nother ball game, whole nother topic. I could talk all night on that. But yeah, definitely. And I now stream 3 nights a week. So yeah, 100%. You know, scaling back helped because and the reason why it helps, just to sort of emphasize on that, is there is something to be said for, and I use this analogy on my own content all the time, is, you know, when streamers aren't always around for the people to get the value from them, people value when you are live, and they'll be like, oh, Mike's live, I'm going to go watch him. And the analogy that I sort of use is like the seaside, because I live in a seaside town in England, and I have probably been to the beach. I've lived here 15 years. I've probably been to the beach about 5 times. And the beach to me is about as boring as watching paint dry, but I have cousins that live inland, and whenever they come over, the beach is like the best thing ever in the world. Like, every part of the beach is fantastic, but that's because they only get to see the beach maybe once or twice a year. So I imply the same thing with when I give advice to people about streaming, is that, you know, if you're live all the time, people stop feeling like you're a luxury and start feeling like you're there all the time anyway. I'll just throw him up because he's live. You know, they don't bother to come and find out what you've been up to. They don't ask you about your day because they know everything that's going on, because they spent the last 3, 4, 5, 6 days with you anyway. So yeah, definitely, if you scale back to, I usually say, I always give the advice that I believe that 3 days is the minimum amount you should do. And then stream time wise, I usually say probably about at least 5 hours if you can manage it. But I know that not everybody's energy level can be maintained, and if you can't maintain that energy level, then definitely stop when you have to stop. But yeah, definitely about 3 days a week, 5 hour streams. You know, 3 days a week is the minimum that you've got to do for partnership anyway. And affiliate, I think. Actually, no, I think affiliate you can do 2 days a week. And then partnership is 3 days a week. So yeah, definitely 3 days a week, and then, you know, 5, 6 hour streams is kind of like what I'm doing at the moment. And, you know, I've seen growth doing it, and then couple that with, you know, Twitter and Instagram and hopefully YouTube shortly down the line.
Absolutely.
It all ties in together, and, you know, I definitely think that's you know, your strongest way forward starting out.
I think for me at least, and what has worked out so far is, I went from streaming like really saturated games like Fortnite, to streaming games that have a really amazing community, and not a community where it's you know, 125,000 people all playing the same damn game. I think like, so my community that I've been kind of focusing on right now is the Just Dance community, because they are, number one, super like supportive. They all hang out with each other in each other's chats. They all hang out and chat with each other, and it's like a big family. It's really awesome to see. Like, if you ever want to see a community that just loves each other like unconditionally, go check those guys out. I promise you, you won't be like any one of the communities that you go to, any of the channels you go to. they're all like super happy to see you, and they're all super super like excited just for the day because they enjoy what they're doing. I've because my goal this year is to drop a little bit more weight. I'm like I'm about 300 pounds. Now this is definitely not the heaviest I've ever been in my life. But I want to keep pushing the needle down, because it's just, general like knowledge. Once you get older, it's harder to lose weight. I'm 27. It's starting to get to that point where I need to push the needle towards the, the lower weight, just for health reasons. And it's doing the Just Dance has definitely helped me in that respect, and also just helped me kind of come out my shell more. I'm a little more sociable when it comes to people coming into stream. And you catch me dancing, I promise you'll catch some ridiculousness. I've punched the wall a couple times on accident, and I've put my foot in my trash can. So I'm gonna let you know this right now. Don't clip my crap, please. Please, for the love of all that's good in this world. It's terrifying to watch. It is. I've fallen like a couple times. Luckily, no one has clipped that, and I'm thankful for that. I'm pretty sure the lads are going to, so thankfully no one can come back and grab those. But I think the biggest thing that people need to realize is, when you're starting off, go for niche communities, because it's 100%. I think it's a better growth, and it's a better time, honestly. And that's my personal opinion. I think people that don't take advantage of growing inside of a niche community are missing out. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I agree personally.
Is there any games that you're looking forward to in 2019 that you want to try out?
I've actually just got my Twitch things.
Oh yes, I'm super I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I've just got it through today, so I said that I might stream that on Friday. And nice. My fiance is a good singer as well, so and if I can convince her to come onto the stream, she used to be on the stream. We used to do a thing called Fiance Fridays, and my community used to absolutely love that. And I'm thinking about, hopefully convince her to come on and sing with me again on Friday, and see if we can sort of resurrect that a little bit. But obviously she'll have been at work all day, so she'll probably be tired, bless her. But but actually, like gaming, like game wise, I don't think there's any games that like in the works that I'm like super looking forward to. It's more. I was just mentioning this earlier. Actually, I am more of like I like to call it the friendship gamer.
Oh yeah.
Like I was sort of saying, like I don't care about how good or bad a game is. If I can play it with my friends, then I'll happily buy it and play it. And I've played games from like Minecraft, Rocket League and things like that, to PUBG, to Fortnite, all not necessarily because they are my specific type of games, but just more because it's what my friends are playing, so I'm gonna go play it with them. And like it's like right now, me and 2 of my good IRL friends are absolutely obsessed with Apex right now. Apex,
how's it been, by the way?
Yeah, it's great. It's like it's simple. It's hard to explain because it's another battle royale.
Of course, yeah.
And they are overdone, but there's just something to be said about you and your 2 friends using different abilities to enter into combat. Like for example, you've got you can say to your, like I'll say to one of my friends, pop, like I'll be like, Trinsen, pop your ult, because he'll be playing Bloodhound, so he'll be able to see like where everybody is, and then he can sort of call out where everybody is. And then Azza, another friend of mine, will be playing Wraith, and then he'll use his ultimate to place down a shield, and then he'll run to the location, place down the next shield, portal to go through, and then we can essentially charge into battle following him, And then at the end of it, when them two have downed and I've got to come in and save the day's lifeline, aka the healer, then I just pop down my little healing drone and then I let it heal them. And it just gives us that sense of being like a really tight knit team working together to, you know, take out other teams. And like we're absolutely obsessed with it. Like I don't stream it because we've spoken about the oversaturation of it, and I have streamed it once or twice.
Yeah.
But more just because I ran out of ideas of what streaming, and like I was just feeling like chilling out.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely off stream whenever I get the chance, whenever I get the time. Like my fiance has horses. If she ever goes out and tends to the horse on a weekend, the first thing that I'm doing is like, lads, let's go on Apex quickly. I've got like 2 hours before she gets back. Let's play some Apex. Let's go.
Yeah, I picked up Apex probably a week after it came out. So I was like, I don't know anything about it. Didn't know anyone to play with. And I just kind of started playing it at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. And then I looked up and I'm like, what time is it? Oh, it's 1 a.m. Crap. And it was just, it was one of those where I was like, I didn't think that I was going to like blow that much time on the game. I thought maybe I'll play like 2 or 3 matches. And I got really into it. I really like the game. I'm not going to stream it because it's not my type of like streaming game. But I will tell you, I'm going to start streaming Tetris 99 because that game is my cup of tea. And I promise you right now, I have to like, I have a bleep button on my my Go XLR. I might have to keep my hand on the bleep button because I promise you, I was just playing it, like just messing around with it. I was like yelling at these other people that are playing against me. I'm like, this is a bad game. Like, this is making me rage super hard. And it's not even like, I'm not a ragey person. And I'm screaming at the game. I'm like, you piece of crap. I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? Like, I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but I was wrong. It's a super good game. Tetris 99 is super fun. But it brings back so much rage. When I was a child, I played Tetris a lot. So that was like my first like handheld game system was a Tetris, like a little Tetris machine that you got from like the, dollar store or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was, it brought back a lot of memories, bad memories. But
yeah, I think the Tetris theme tune is pretty much burnt into every gamer's mind. I think there's no, like right now, I can guarantee that everybody is now thinking about the Tetris theme tune in their head.
Yes. And here's the best part is the fact that they've updated it. So now you can like kind of sing along as you're getting your butt whooped on, 90 against 99 people. I got down to 24, I think. So I'm getting there. Toilet Tetris is god of games, hands down. I have to check it. Yeah, that game, so much rage. Okay, so we've covered a lot of good topics tonight. I want to ask you, what are some things that you are looking forward towards for the future of the Mike James experience for your podcast?
The future of the podcast. A good question. I'm definitely looking forward to, just having the ability to upload a podcast. And do you know what? I love the feeling of helping people. Probably a little bit too much. So I'm really looking forward to the time when I can like upload an episode of the podcast and then see somebody like tweet it out to their friend and be like, not because I've asked them to, but because they've said, oh, this episode would probably really, really help you. You should give it a listen.
Yeah.
And, I think that is like the biggest goal for my podcast. But generally, it's just to keep, getting more and more established streamers on the show and just giving their insight and just sharing their experience. Because at the end of the day, as much as it is about getting advice for the newer streamers, it's all about just allowing those streamers to come on at that moment in time and tell us about their experience on the platform so far. and it'll be great. I'm looking forward to having the same guest come back on maybe a year down the line, and then see how their experience of platform has changed and things like that. So I suppose it's just bigger and better things, as as cliche as it sounds. It's just bigger guests, more information,
Yeah.
learning more about like actually structuring the podcast and editing it. And because I mean the podcasts are pretty straightforward. You have your intro, you have your stinger, transition music, you have the main body of it, and then you've got the outro and the call to action and whatnot. And then it's a very simple concept, but in this day and age, when you've got like handheld devices, especially with like the release of 5G and things, and we've got all of these home devices now, like Alexa and the Google devices, and we've even apparently humans needed smart fridges. So apparently we've got smart fridges now.
What?
So
I'm not even gonna complain. If I had a smart fridge, I would be okay with my life. But honestly, I don't need a fridge to tell me that I'm low on milk. Thank you. I'll just check it myself. I appreciate it though. That's a step towards things I don't need in my life. That's like the Jetsons, and I don't need that kind of automation in my life. When they're like, oh, by the way, you are low on butter, I'm like, all right, good, thanks. Awesome. I'll get to that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now, if you're going to order me the butter, then we'll talk about that,
If you're going to order the butter and then collect it when it comes and then put itself inside of yourself.
Done. Where can I sign up for this?
But yeah, just with like the availability of all the devices that we've got nowadays, I truly believe that, podcasts are going to become such a massive platform of entertainment and education, just simply because a lot of people can put a podcast on when they're traveling in the car to work, when they're doing like I have somebody in the community that normally tells me that they're going to cook dinner, so they'll put my podcast on, and it's great because it's just seeing all of it makes me happy knowing that there's like people out there that are actually getting value from me and other streamers, and it's helping them. Like we just did a podcast last week that went up about streaming anxiety, which to me, I don't know about yourself, but to me, when people go live on Twitch, I've never felt like anxious going live on Twitch. Like when I press go live, I don't really feel anxious, but apparently it's a huge issue for a lot of people. So I had Anxiety, who's a mental health advocate and talk show host on here on Twitch, come on, and she said some absolutely, she gave some great advice, not only to me but to just everybody generally. And she summed it up, and I used it as part of marketing material. She basically said that like we were talking a little bit about trolls getting to you and like targeting like the negative elements of how you look, like weight wise and things. So I was telling her how my weight is kind of holding me back on making YouTube videos and things, and she basically just said that like at the end of the day, these horrible people are just going to carry on being horrible whether or not you make content or not. And by not uploading content, you're letting them win anyway. Even if they haven't affected you yet, you're letting them win because you haven't uploaded content. And then if you're not delivering that content, there's potentially greatness that you haven't delivered to the world out of your own fear and out of your own anxiety. And I sort of said, like the way that I deal with anxiety is I kind of sort of just say, hold my beer, I'm going in. And I just tank past it, and it is a difficult thing, but yeah, it's
no, I like that. My big thing with the whole anxiety is I don't have. When I first started streaming, it wasn't an anxiety thing for me. It was just finding the time to stream. Now it's more of I have the anxiety of everything else except for streaming. I get in here and it's like the world outside of me is shut down, and I'm just me. I'm just Blade hanging out with my friends and chilling and do my thing. Once I step outside this room, it's a different story. But at the same time, I can understand where the whole like I'll give you my experience with the whole weight thing. I've been my size for a long time, and I've got some pretty thick skin. Like Cartman says from South Park, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned. I'm not. I'm just a big boned boy, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care anymore. Like there was people that I went to college with that were super super supportive of me, and they did not care who I was or what I looked like. They were just there to be my friends, and like that kind of snapped me out of my high school days where I was like, I'm the fat kid, and I'm like, I'm the fat kid. Let's do this. Like, I don't care anymore. And your whole hold my beer mentality, that's how my mentality is with the whole being a big dude. I embrace it. Like, I know I'm a big boy, and I'll be a big boy the rest of my life because that's just my family. Like, that's my genes. And I'm gonna wear the jeans the way I want to wear them, up to my nipples and not caring. And like, it's just how I feel. Like, that's how I am. I don't. I've been like this my whole life, and the people that are around me support me, and they help me push past that whole like thought of like, oh, it's bad to be big. It's all right, it happens. I mean, it's not healthy, but hey, I really like food, it's good. Like do I want to have a salad or do I want to have pizza? Clearly I'm not having salad tonight, I'm definitely having pizza. It's just how it works. Tacos are delicious, and if you don't know that, you're wrong. Tacos, please. Yes. Yes. There's a taco place down my street, like probably about 5 minutes from my house, that has Taco Tuesday, that does dollar tacos, and it's on the way home from like where I work. I've stopped there many times on Tuesday, and they're like, "Oh no, he's coming in." They know. Oh, they know. They're like, "Oh no." It's like the Godzilla scene. It's just me. I'm like, oh, can I have like 10 tacos? Thanks. Appreciate. Yeah, strategically placed taco stand. Yep, they knew. They knew. It's, I mean, just, I think embracing stuff, your weight, your whatever. Like, for the longest time I had a real patchy beard, like underneath, and I just embraced it, and eventually it grew in, and I don't have to worry about it no more. It just happens. Eventually stuff goes on, life moves on, people move on, trolls move through life, and they don't ever come back. You eventually you become a better person than what they saw, and maybe they turn around, they come back, and they go, oh, this is a kind of cool dude now, let me talk to him. I think that's it's happened many a times to people that I know, where people didn't give them the time of day, and then they hit some sort of pay dirt, or they got big, and people are like, oh, let me talk to this guy now. And you're like, no, I'm not talking to you anymore. You were a piece of crap to me earlier. I'm just gonna shut you down at the door. So I think that's something to be said. So I'm gonna give you one more question, and then I'm gonna get you out of here so I can get some sleep. And probably I'm sure you probably gonna get some sleep as well.
I told my fiance that it was going to be a late night, so she's given me permission to stay up. So we cool. We can hang out.
All right. So okay, my question to you, as a content creator and as a overall trying to better yourself as a someone that's trying to help other content creators, what is one piece of advice you can give to content creators as a whole through Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Mixer, YouTube? What's something that you've learned that you could pass along to other people?
I don't want to be the guy that just says be yourself, because that is about the least most useful advice that anybody could give anybody when it comes to streaming. So the one bit of advice that I'd say to anybody is to expose yourself. Not physically. I don't mean walk out into the street and take off all your clothes. I mean, figure out the best way to expose your content to the audience that you are trying to seek. Because at the end of the day, you can have a good brand, you can have fun streams, you can have, top quality banter, but if you're not targeting the right people, then it's gonna backfire. And you're not gonna see a lot of growth, and it's gonna suck. Um, so yeah, definitely 100%. Learn to expose and market yourself in the correct areas and in the correct ways.
I like that. Yeah, that's a big thing. I think people don't realize that there's a lot to the whole marketing thing, and if they don't take a hold of it and take grasp of it, that it will eat you alive. It will eat you
Mm.
alive, and I think that's the biggest thing that hopefully people realize. Even from just this podcast, if you market yourself as uh, the fun-loving guy, and people come in and they see you're not very fun-loving, then obviously you're doing it wrong. So yeah, I would say just keep on branding, keep marketing, keep pushing yourself. That's a hopefully people realize that that's the way to go. Okay, so I'm going to give you the floor one more time. You can shout out whatever you would like. You could shout out yourself or whoever else, and we'll get you on out of here after that.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been the Mike James. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheMikeJames. You can also check out my own podcast, at anchor.fm/The Mike James. And I'd like to leave this by giving the biggest shout out possible to the biggest supporter of mine, somebody that's actually stayed up with me till 2:30 a.m. this morning, and that is my dad, who has been sat watching this podcast and probably should have been asleep about 3 hours ago. So the biggest shout out to one of the biggest supporters and one of the biggest friends, and he's been an absolutely great person to support me, and definitely one big ups to Daddy T XIX, who is my actual real dad, who's probably going to give me a lot of slack for the fact that I've kept playing with my beard tonight. So big ups to you, Daddy T, and thank you for hanging out with us.
Love that. That's awesome, man. Well, it's been fantastic having you on, seriously. And I would definitely say I'd like to have you on at some point in the future for sure, so we can chat some more about branding and as any new knowledge that you have that we'd like to share with the audience. But yeah, like I said, it's been freaking awesome. And it's definitely been eye-opening having you on as well, because I there's some stuff that I didn't know that I definitely now need to kind of reevaluate some things, and it's good things, don't get me wrong, but any knowledge is good knowledge, honestly.
Oh yeah, I love that saying, knowledge is power.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you right now, I watch YouTube videos like it's just straight my addiction. Like, I'm gonna finish this podcast, get it downloaded to my computer, go to my room, and start watching more videos. That's just what I do, and then I go to bed in like 3 hours because I don't know what sleep is. But anyways,
do I, apparently.
yeah. But anyways, it's been awesome having you on, my friend, and I hope to see you soon, and I hope the awesome and best for you in 2019. So
thank you, man. I really appreciate this. This has been the first ever guest appearance I've made on anybody's stream, so you can imagine my reaction in my Discord. I was like, guys, I'm pooing pants here.
Hey.
Just because it's a new experience for me, and I really do appreciate that you reached out to me.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely return that favor, because I'd love to have you on the show sometime, on my own show sometimes in the future. But yeah, thank you so much, dude. It honestly means a lot to me that you've given me the time to come on. And if I can give you one personal recommendation, if you haven't already, definitely check out the Primal Branding. And I'm not an affiliate, I'm just seriously, check out the Primal Branding by Patrick Hanlon. Honestly, I haven't read the Gary Vee books yet, so I don't know what they're like, but that book has literally changed my perception to everything regarding to streaming.
I'll have to check it out for sure then. I like it.
But yeah, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I will get you out of here, and I hope you have a great night.
All right, thanks, dude.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What's up, everybody? Hope you had a fantastic time listening to the Mike James and I on the Bladecast. We had a awesome discussion about everything that has to do with rebranding, as well as just how to build your stream from basically nothing to what you are doing right now. And I had a fun time. I had a fantastic time with him. I can't wait to see where he goes from here on Twitch. So if you guys really liked his stuff, should definitely check him out. I'm going to post all of his links in the show notes in the description, on Spotify, iTunes, and on YouTube. If you guys are on the YouTube, like I said at the beginning, make sure to hit that like button. Also share it out to people. If you guys think that this content is good, things to share with someone else, I would 100% love to see it. And just, yeah, hit the share button, send it out to your friend and be like, yeah, you should try this and listen to it, and hopefully they can share it along as well. But I really love seeing people who just love making content. So anyways, like I said, check out the Mike James on all of his platforms, and I hope you have a fantastic day or night wherever you're at. All right, peace out, blades up, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.